I'm hosting Boba Breakfast Club. Pull up, grab a chair. Snow outside the window, tapioca in the air. Bo Jackson Battle Arena. Yeah, I curate the sleigh.
180 Hex mixtape. Call your shot. Who's it gonna be?
Cinnamon cheer.
Here we go. Good luck, all. Hardcore. That is beautiful.
Call me Santa with taste. Wonders of the first. Yeah, I narrate the chase.
And there's a banger. There's an absolute banger. Whoa! Let me give you a banger. Oh my goodness, I gotta say that one.
But I still sing loud. Like a choir of survivors in a holiday crowd.
All right, welcome to Bo Battle Breakers for breakfast. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you had a great one. And of course, in that intro clip, you saw Eric L., Mr. Hop, The Card Society with that banger, Cousin Eddie, perfectly timed Christmas hit. And then following up was Seth from, or also known as Lungta, Mainly Breaks. Everybody's got to have three names. Like, I don't know what's with you guys. Like, you think you're like a, music artist, and like, we just have to keep, it's like shifted away from Prince with the one character name, and now like we have to have 15 names for everybody. You guys are like Carolina Girl with Grace, Wonders Workshop. And then finally we have Jason here also, who has shed the his Tulane sweatshirt and now is wearing a Georgetown. So not only has he given up his hometown team, he's also now turned into a Yankee lover. But go ahead and defend yourself, Jason.
Well, my daughter's in town from college, and that's where she goes, Georgetown. And when she's in town, it goes from Roll Wave to Hoya Saxa.
Yeah.
So that's so just enjoying our time with her, and it's the first thing I grabbed.
That's awesome. It's good to have family back home. All right. Yeah. So it's great to actually be on the air. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. And I know we didn't talk today before the show, guys, about what we're going to talk about. But one thing that Seth mentioned, he mentioned the stack behind me that I'm accumulating. And actually, it really hasn't grown. I might have reorganized it a little bit so it looks more impressive than it was. But one of the things I did is right before Christmas, I took a drive north and I stopped at several Dick's because I had been tracking the double mega inventory at Dick's within 100 miles. And I kept thinking like, oh, maybe I'll go up there. Maybe I'll go up there. I'm not too far. Of course, Seth and I, like, we share the Boston metro area. So I know if I don't get there, Seth will. And I was surprised because there's a Dick's House of Cards in Boston in the Prudential Center. And the inventory stayed there. And I wasn't surprised by that because it's a nightmare. I mean, who wants to pay $25 an hour to go in and buy your Bo Jackson Battle Arena box? It's downtown Boston. It's nightmare parking. So I was like, that's a good one I can get. I can bring my son. He can run in and I can snag it. Well, on the way up, we called several of the places and they're like, no, we don't have it, even though it says it. We actually stopped because just to make sure, sometimes, the workers don't always know what's going on. And they don't have it. So what's crazy is we had like 5 stores within 100 miles that still had Bo Battle Arena. None of them had the product. Phantom inventory listings. So what's crazy to me is I haven't seen the price. I went to radishpriceguide.com and I checked on the price of the double mega and it hasn't moved. And that is insane because as we know, Tecmo's not coming for months. So the fact that Dick's now is, I don't really think there's any product left at Dick's. And the price of that double mega is so going to get squeezed because there's nothing left to rip. And we've only grown as a community. And I didn't know were you guys aware that these Dick's listings were phantom at this point, at least in my area?
I haven't seen a box in the wild ever here. I know there were a few guys that gobbled a lot up. They went to a few stores and bought them out. But yeah, there's been nothing. It's been dry the whole time.
Yeah, agreed. Slappy, we have a little bit of an overlap there. So most of the stores I had called, as soon as I mentioned the product, maybe I'm not the only person calling, like, no, we don't have it. But I fortunately found one that had a handful and I got some there. But since I've tried calling back and it's been a lot of no's. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, down here it's scarce being in New Orleans, but found one at our local Dick's in suburb of New Orleans and just had a business lunch, and afterwards told my buddy who I work with said, "Hey, dude, we need to stop at Dick's." I'm like, "For what?" I'm like, "I need to go get cards." So we luckily ran in, and they were showing 9 in stock. Well, there was only 8 on the shelf, so I'm walking around, and they have a security tag on each one, with the
Oh my-
cables on it and everything.
Seriously? A security
yeah.
tag on it? Okay.
Absolutely. And so I'm walking around with 8 of them stacked up. People looking at me goofy, and I didn't care, so I grabbed them. But that's the only ones I've seen.
Yeah.
Is,
And that's a great point, Jason, because
Mhm.
I'm thinking about Seth on Black Friday. He went into Target, he waited in line, and he got his 2 that he was allowed to at Target. And it's kind of fascinating, isn't it, guys, that the products available at Target and Dick's, one allows 2, one allows 10. And at Dick's, you're right, Jason, like those 10 boxes, like the first time I bought it, the woman's like, whoa, there's a limit on this. And she's calling. And the reason why is because it looks like when you carry 8, it seems like a lot, doesn't it, Jason?
oh yeah, and it's kind of funny you're talking about limits because, I'm getting to the counter and I put it down. She goes, "Yeah, oh yeah, I think there's a limit on this." I said, "Oh yeah, it's 8," because I know I had 8 in my hand, right? So I
Jason.
and she listened to me like I work at Dick's, which I don't. So I was like, okay, yeah. So it's 10. Is that the limit at Dick's?
10 is the limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're like me. When I went in, I actually, well, I'm not like you because I went by the rules. I asked an associate, hey, the sign says Pokemon
I didn't
2.
break any rules.
And the
Rules are
limit's
made to be
8.
broken.
I asked an associate, I'm like, this sign says Pokemon 2, everything else 10, so I can get 10 of these, right? And she goes, yeah. So when I went up to the front, to the point we were talking about, I mean, it's to my chin, and I'm holding it down below my waist. And when I put it up there, she's like, I'm gonna need to check. I'm like, no, you don't need to check. I checked with her. She said 10, it's not Pokemon. And so I was like, all I needed was somebody to be like, oh, I know we don't have that on the sign, but this guy's coming up with 10. We got to put limits on this. And actually at a Dick's, I did get shut down. They did say 2. And at the time I was a rookie and I didn't push back, which this stack could have been bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still a formidable stack you have there, Slap.
Yeah, you got a nice retail display there.
Yeah.
Put a little end cap in your office.
It's
I
more than
know.
an end cap. It's like a double end cap for sure.
Yeah, it's
so
like
what I've noticed,
5 breaks right there.
Yeah, it's like
at
a whole
least.
desk.
Yeah. Well, as we've established, I don't like going out of order. So I'm trying to rip through my alpha update before I get to this. So I'm trying to rip it. And what's really hard is I've been on eBay, like over Christmas, I've been looking at eBay because there's a few holes well, not holes. There's a few things I'd like to improve on my Apex deck. And so I'm trying to grab things out there. And I'm realizing I'm like, I really shouldn't, because I have 175 packs from alpha and primarily alpha and update that I haven't ripped yet. So I could be buying things that I don't need because I just haven't ripped them yet. I might have that bow card in there for all I know.
Yeah,
I believe you
know
do
three
have the
guys
bow
that would
card.
buy most of that alpha. and
Only
update
one way to
product.
find out.
I know. Well, I like you guys, as we know here on Ratch, like we like doing content. We like doing this show and by the way, this is Bow Battle Breakers for breakfast. Thank you everybody for joining us. And we like doing content. So what's hard is I look at it. I never was somebody who, I don't understand when, kids nowadays watch video games being played on YouTube. And so with ripping is like, I enjoy ripping. I know everybody enjoys ripping. And when you're in a break, in one of your breaks, you enjoy watching the rip. And but you guys know better than anyone else, right? How many people are actually purchasing break spots and how many people are there just to watch your rips? And so I try to add more content to the Radish channel, as I don't like to rip now without filming it, because I'm like, it doesn't, sometimes I'm like, well, do people really want to see every pack from a hobby? But it's like, for some people they are. So that's also what slows me down, is I need to actually just go in and film it as I do it. So of course I didn't have so Mr. Hop, Eric, you ended up you got a double hit in a hobby pack. And the comment you made is like, everybody's talking about the double megas, but man, these hobby packs. So you had a chance to really rip some hobby, Eric. And I mean, they are pretty fantastic, aren't the hobby boxes?
Yeah, I think there certainly can be some big double megas. We've seen some nice hits come out of those, but you've got to really open those in volume, I think, to match the potential of what hobby brings. You can get 4 to 5 featured cards out of a hobby box, which is awesome. You're not going to get that out of a double mega. You might get one, but more than likely you're not going to get any. And so with a guaranteed auto, plus seeing 4 or so featured out of there, and then you've got the double hit packs, of course, with 2 battle foils. A lot of times you see a glow and then a mixtape, or an auto, and then like a linoleum or something like that. So really fun. I think every break should have a hobby box in it just to add that little bit of upside to chase. I feel like retail products, sometimes you're a little limited with the ceiling.
How many hobbies did you rip? Have you ripped so far, Eric?
Oh God. I would say close to 30 between breaks and personal.
Oh, wow.
You've been doing work, Eric.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Man of the people. Trying to free these cards from their packs.
Free their cards. Oh, that's what music to Frenchie's ears. By the way, quick saying that Seth did not give him the wake up call. Maybe quick.
I sent him a text, that line SOB. Quick, check your text messages.
Well, the other thing is it's the day after Christmas, and I'll be honest with you, I cannot wait for to speak with Tex Hooper later today. And Tex being like, "What? We had a show today?" I actually, because Tex has still been recovering from his sickness, I was like, I'm sure he could take it easy today. Like, I didn't even tell Tex about the show. So he's going to be shocked to find out afterwards that we went on so quick. You're not, maybe some of us are just giving you a break. All right, Eric, though, with the hobby boxes, how many of those had double autos, which of course that was not a thing in alpha? Is like, right, Seth, we never saw double auto hobbies in alpha, and that's showing up. So out of the 20, how many had double autos, Eric?
Only a few, probably 3 total.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of rare, at least in my experience.
I out of the 3 I've opened, 2 out of the 3 have had double autos. And in fact, one of the things, I was talking to a team member, one of my double autos they were both Bagwells. So the fact that I got a double auto and it was the same athlete was insane. They were saying like the odds of getting that. Jason, have you ripped any of the hobbies?
Yeah. We've done about a dozen or so.
Okay.
Between
any double autos?
And personal, no double autos.
Okay.
No double autos, but a lot of featured. And I think that helps that they've added some parallels with the features. With the Blizzard, we fit some Blizzard feature that's new to update. To Griffey, and then also the Great Grandma's Linoleum, which is Great Grandma's Linoleum is
Retail.
only in double megas, right? So we've hit some of those in double megas. It's interesting. The auto is not 2 in a box yet, but definitely multiple features in a hobby.
Wow, I guess we're so lucky. Like Seth, I feel like we're not going to get into the whole discussion about geeks, sub community of the Bow Battle community, but I feel like the geeks are hitting double autos a lot. So
I'd say, yeah. So I have a handful of, actually I have a lot of geek boxes, and my brother, he was like, "Hey, you want to trade some sealed product for some things?" I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, I know those geek boxes have been juiced. I've seen it. He's trying to get my geek boxes from me. But you guys have had really crazy double auto rates. Eric, that's like, you said not that many. It's like 10%. I feel like that's really high. I haven't had any. Of course, I've ripped, I don't know, 10 to 15 maybe. I don't rip as many personal now just because product is hard to find. Most of mine goes to my breaks, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I do have them to rip, but yeah, that's a lot of double autos for both you guys.
Yeah, I'm waiting to revert back to the mean. I know once I open the rest of my hobbies, those things are loose and they're just hanging out of it. Jason, did you have a question? I didn't know if you had your head going up. I do want to say is that though you were talking about the different box types, and so I'll share my screen and then we'll let's see. I will put this link up, but so a very helpful page at Radish on our YouTube. We did a video on each of these, but of course you can go to the page. Oh, let's see. Let's get it up there. Is that this is Griffey set Bo Jackson Battle Arena 2026 edition, details by box type. And this is great because you go in here and it talks about the jumbo hobby box. It's going to tell you what you get, what you could get, what's available in each of those. And it goes down through hobby box. And of course, we were just talking about the double mega. and what to look for inside the double mega. So that's something I'll put up here as well to see. All right. So Jason, after we've been doing this for, well, Black Friday, that's insane that it's been a month. I mean, doesn't it seem like it's been days? Like, does it really seem like it's been a month that we've been ripping this product?
Yeah,
Over?
It's been fast. It's been super fast. And, you know, I think it was so fast and furious in the beginning, right? You know, where
Right.
everybody's getting their hands on as much as they can get. And either like us three, I mean, look, we're ripping a little, but the majority we're trying to stockpile because, like you said, with Tecmo coming out, I mean, we're all excited about that, but time frame is kind of still up in the air, April, May-ish. So, I mean, we're trying to do the math and trying to calculate, all right, I need X amount for our breaks. And so we're trying to stretch it out. But then there's other guys who are just ripping. So you've seen a flow, I mean, just a flood into eBay and into our Discord channels and stuff like that, just with just a lot of activity going on, you know?
Agreed. And I just in the past few days, I've noticed there have been a lot of hobbies that have just disappeared off eBay, like
Yeah.
a ton. And it's the price is steadily going up. I was trying to wait just a little bit more because, like you said, Jason, I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, all right, I like to rip 2 hobbies per break, so that means I gotta go this, and I might miss this weekend. A lot of mental gymnastics to try to make it work. And I mean, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It'll be fun. We'll be fine. But yeah, it's been wild, and it's felt like it's been 3 days. I'm still like coming out of the release haze. I'm still checking eBay every 30 seconds, waiting for someone who doesn't know what they have, and I'm still getting a few good deals. Yeah, it's been a blast the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, Seth, I don't want to out you, but do you want to share the best deal that you've gotten in the Griffey set on eBay?
Yo, you can out me. Which one? I had a couple really good ones.
No, there was one. I bet not better than that first one. It's like that early sale you got in like the first day or 2 on eBay.
Oh, the Aikman or the
No, that was I'm talking sealed product.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'll share this.
I mean, everybody can see the sales history.
It's
So,
me.
uh,
So
people
I just
know.
happened to look, and you know, I'm lucky every now and then. I got 2 jumbos of sealed jumbos.
No, hold on. Wait.
Yeah.
So obviously we're saying you got a deal. Like those are what did one go at auction for? Like 3,000 or something like that?
They're steadily at 3,000.
So Jason, what do you think? Like when I say he stole it, like what do you think he stole it for? And don't be like my wife and overdo
I would
it.
never think Seth, the good man that he is, would steal anything. But
You're right about
me,
that.
like jumbos are like Sasquatch, right? I've heard about them, but never seen one and touched one and all that. I don't know, Seth. If you got it anywhere 1,500 or below, you definitely got a phenomenal deal.
So you say 1,500 or below. What about you, Eric? Any guess on what a good?
I think he got it at 2,000.
2,000. All right. So Seth.
Both great. I got them at $1,050 per box, and I've since traded them both away to get more hobbies because I'm not gonna rip a jumbo in my break. So they're in good homes.
So what did you trade it for? One jumbo for how many hobby?
No, I got part cash, and then other one I got 2. I'm getting 2 hobbies, and I got a bunch of singles and cash. So it's just stuff I could use for my show more.
Sure, yeah, of course. The barter
Man,
system.
if I got a jumbo for 1,000, I'm ripping that for myself. Like that,
100%.
you're playing with house money. You are so
Right?
up on that. Like,
So
yeah,
I may or may not have one extra one left. We'll see what I do with that one.
yeah.
I know that
New
there's
Year's Eve rip.
2 breakers on here with you, Seth, that would share that jumbo, right?
Yeah.
Right, Eric? I think you can
yeah,
split that
okay.
jumbo if you ever want
We
to move.
can figure that out. We could do like a 3. We'll figure out how to do a try show.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's I do want to just add on. We're talking about the sealed case price. You can always go to radishpriceguide.com where Big Rob, he has it collated perfectly so you can find the best last sale. Interesting, no sales today. So we're slowing down a little bit. That's also an interesting note that when we used to look at this, it's sorted right now by the last sold. So the last box sold, not surprising, is a Griffey double mega box. And I'm actually surprised we didn't have a sale today because that's, we're 9 hours into the 26th of December. And, last week, the week before, you were seeing sales every few hours. So that just tells you how the product's slowing down in terms of sales. And that's not because of demand going down. That's because of supply going down. But what's shocking, and there's no doubt that this one sold $110. That's insane. I'm not sure why somebody does that. They buy it on eBay. And, once you're done with fees and shipping, I mean, $110, like, I'm not sure why somebody would go to the trouble to sell it at that. Then the Griffey Blaster Box, which sold the day on Christmas Eve, that one went for $46. The Alpha Update Blaster Box went for $160. So it's interesting to see the difference between the Blaster Box and the Alpha Update Blaster Box. You're looking at a 3x for that original. And then the Griffey Hobby Box is $550. That was the last sale, and that was on the 20th of December. So again, Seth talking about the product drawing up. We haven't seen anything sell since the 20th. Of course, there's deals going on. For those who are not in the Discord, you can find the link in the, actually, I'm going to have to put the link in afterwards, but I'll put the link to the Discord. Discord's a social media app. It's just a community of very rabid bow battle fans, but it's also a place where people do a lot of trades. And then just finishing up here to take a look, we've got the Alpha Edition Blaster Box. That one is that, let's see, Alpha Edition. Oh, okay. It was the Alpha Update Blaster Box was the 3 times. So the Alpha Edition Blaster Box actually sold for $400 on 12/19. So that's almost a 10x what the Blaster Box is for Griffey. And then a Big League Chew Blaster Box, that one sold for $400. I missed that sale on the 19th. That was a special National Card Show promo that was going on. And of course, inside that, you had a chance to hit a Bo Jackson of 99 auto, which gets you into the National Card Tournament next year. And then a Griffey Blaster Case, that one sold for $1,800 back on the 17th. And let me see any others. Griffey Hobby Case, a Griffey Hobby Case sold for $3,600 back on the 12th. And the Griffey Jumbo, last one, we were talking about this just now with Seth, $3,000 on the 12th. So Seth got it, like that's 3x what Seth was able to pay for it. And of course, the person who sold it, by the way, they made out. Like, right? People don't have to be hogs. They can be pigs, just get a little fat. So everybody gets something out of it. And like Seth gets more for a show. And of course, we haven't seen anything. Let's see, the Alpha. I'm trying to see back to Alpha Edition Booster Box. Last one was back in November for a sale. But yeah, I'm trying to think any of these guys back. No, I'm trying to look for the Alpha Edition Jumbo Hobby Box. The last one was $3,700 back on October 9th, Alpha Edition Hobby Box, which again, that was about $225 retail when it came out a year ago, and now it's $3,700. All right, looking at all these prices though, I will say this is that does anything, Seth, I mean, you kind of let us know where you're going with Jumbo, but like for you, Eric, when you look at these prices, do you have any interest? Like, can you make a break work for the historical aspect of these? Is you know what I'm saying? Is like,
I think we've passed that point for Alpha and Alpha Update, and we probably will hit that point for Griffey maybe February. There's going to be a weird time period and we saw this with Alpha, we saw this with Alpha Update where the singles dip a little bit because a lot of singles have hit the market and people have gotten their decks. People have gotten most of their rainbows complete, whatever it is they're chasing. But there's so little wax to be held found that the wax prices go up just because there's so little inventory available, and we're already starting to see that now. There was a very, very small window right after Thanksgiving where everyone was putting their hobby boxes on eBay, and you could get them for under 500. I was sniping them for like 475 here and there, and just trying to find as many as I possibly could. But that went away very quickly. It was like maybe 4 or 5
because you bought them all. Because you bought them all.
I definitely didn't buy them all. No,
I was there with Eric.
Yeah, I don't look at those other guys with 30 hobby boxes in their breaks. Yeah, that was not here. So yeah, that disappeared quickly, but it's going to be interesting in January, end of January, early February, when we see so little product available, in another 3 weeks of Griffey breaks. Like, that's a lot of product getting ripped by the community overall. So we'll see what happens when we reach that point. And, you know, if hobby boxes start to hit that $700-800 mark, like they did with Update.
It would not if you mean when.
Yeah. When, well,
Yeah.
whatever time it happens. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, did you see the you're talking about this product getting shredded, and of course Bazooka Vault did a break, an interesting break where you got a double mega with every the break spot you had, and I think didn't they fill a second break that way too?
They did. They
And
did.
it-
Yeah.
And so it was how many spots were they in each break?
Was
So
it,
like 135,
yeah,
137, maybe.
Yeah, I think the spots were going for 135, and I think there was 130 some odd spots.
Okay, and so that was 260 double megas that got sent ripped. Like the seal's broken. They don't rip the packs, but they rip
Yeah.
the cellophane off it. So that's 200 and that's 270, call it, that are out of circulation now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
big number this late into the series.
Yeah, I think what you're going to start seeing is, you know, I think the weekend before Christmas, I think just breaking and stuff like that kind of slowed down a little bit just because of the time of year, and look, you're doing stuff with your families and you know, shopping for other things besides boba. But now I think once everything, you know, dust settles and everybody's back into the groove after this week of, you know, between Christmas and New Year's, kind of a weird week anyway. Starting in January, I think you're going to see, you know, Griffey break. But then once you start running out of the product, I think you might see some Update break jump in there. Maybe an alpha. That would be kind of surprising to me, because the only person that's sitting on like a stockpile of alpha product is Slappy. So, I mean, I think you're going to see a mix maybe of maybe the Update is some guys who held on to some Update and just to have something to do their breaks with, because, you know, there's a lot more people breaking now. And you kind of see the difference between the guys that are just breaking double megas and the guys that are breaking hobbies and jumbos. But I think that there's more volume out there with people breaking more hobbies and jumbos. So I think it's going to go. I know the print runs higher. I don't know the numbers. I don't, you know, I've heard some different multiples and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where. I agree with everybody else where it's creeping up the prices of the hobby and especially the jumbo. And it'll be interesting to see that kind of the mix of product that people are going to start breaking, you know, whether they have any Update left or,
Yeah.
you know, what they're going to do with double mega breaks. And then, and even the blasters, you know, you saw a big breaker, this past weekend do an Update break with 64 blasters in a break, which was I've never seen that before with that many blasters in one break. So it's kind of, guys are just kind of grabbing what you can. And in my mind, it's, hey, I don't want to lose money, but at the same time, like Eric, and I love that he does this, you know, buyers give you with that Bojack spot every week. I think that's awesome because he's taking care of the customer, right? And I think that we need to be aware of that moving forward too, is taking care of the customer and not having them overpaying for spots for breaks, you know.
Well, and Jason, that you bring up a good point, Seth. And I'm curious, you heard Eric talk about the fact that he was grabbing hobby boxes around 475. You said you were. And when Jason's talking about taking care of the customer, this is the hard part, right? Because as the product gets squeezed, and to put it out there is that you guys are not, everybody thinks not everybody, a lot of people will say the breakers are just getting funneled all this like free or low cost inventory. You guys are, as you look at all you shaking your head, you're buying this stuff on eBay. You're paying the eBay fees. So you're trying to make it work, the economics, which, as we know, that's what Frenchie says. Frenchie's like, Frenchie loves breaking, loves being in breaks. He loves seeing them and loves watching them. But he also believes it's entertainment. And if you can't offer entertainment value, then you shouldn't be in breaking. And he doesn't mean that it's not personal. That's just how he feels about breaking. So Seth, though, when you go from a 475 hobby box to Eric was just saying $800, what's hard is you can this is the only hard part, is that when we talk about entertainment, is that if you get great entertainment and you get a few cards, Like it's easier to say I paid for that entertainment. I didn't get the full value in the cards. I got it. But what's really hard is as the product dries up for you guys, it's hard because it's possible people are going to get no cards and the price is much higher than it was when you first started breaking. And so what's interesting is there's this curve where the need for entertainment value dramatically escalates because the cost of their break spot goes way up and they're going to get no cards out of the break because you're not going to have 46 blast or 64 blasters, is that you're going to have a hobby box. So how do you, Seth, handle that? Where do you just not do that break? You're like, I don't even want to get into that because I only have a hobby box. And I mean, I can't do it by hero because, you know, X amount of people are going to get shut out. And this hobby box cost me $1,500 now. Or in the case of Alpha, $3,700 for a hobby box.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do. It just wouldn't make sense economically and mathematically to do an alpha break for me. I'm a smaller channel, so in an instance like that, it's a really good question. It's something I thought a lot about. One is, you know, French always says we're entertainers first, so I try to really focus on just the overall entertainment product of my show. And then just hope that people support it and they show support with the dollars they spend and who's in there watching. So I think I get usually about, not a lot, but about half are just kind of hanging out, being a part of the community, which I think is pretty good. That's a sign that we're on the right track there. But I also decided that, and this has happened to me before already, even at my current cost, is sometimes I'm just even. And I just want to continue putting on shows to build the brand and to build the following, and just hopes in that later on it's going to pay off. So I'm going to put on shows regardless. And I don't look at it as a per show basis. I'll look at it as overall. So overall, am I a little bit positive? I'm okay with that. Even sometimes there may be a show where I'm down and another show that I do really well. But I have been thinking about the question about updates, because I do have some update. I have some more on the way. And I kind of want to combine an update and Griffey. And I'm thinking of I'm trying to devise, maybe that's a true squad. And so can I ask the question of what would you guys do in a squad like that that's combining both?
I would try and do the city team break where you slot people in by region or by city. I did one for Griffey and it was like 37 spots. So I think if you added in alpha update, combined them, got a few more cities, you know, maybe get like a 60, 70 spot break with a combo. You could also do a power break with all products. Everybody would, that's what I was thinking of. If I had alpha update, the easiest thing would probably just do a power break with update and Griffey in there.
Eric, what do you do with people like Peekaboo Street when it comes to your city break?
So I had a tennis / golf spot in mind that had the tennis golf players. Peekaboo, you know, alpha update. So I haven't done a city break with alpha update. But I also I took Cousin Eddie and Flavor Flav and I just added them to whatever I thought were the weakest spots. Like I think I had a Utah spot with Ace Bailey and Marksman, Lori Markkinen. Didn't think that was a super desirable spot. So I added Cousin Eddie in there with them. He's hanging out in Utah. So that ended up being a decent chase for somebody.
Let's be honest, on his way from I think it's Nevada, isn't that where he lost the farm on his way to Chicago? You're right. He probably
went to a Jazz game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the power break idea, Eric. That's kind of the simplest, easiest one to go to. But then with our breaks, I didn't do it by city. I just did it by I threw everything in Excel, every hero, and then just kind of looked at similarities, right? So like we used Cousin for an example. So I have Cousin and Dumper together, and the name of that spot is Dirty Jobs. So
I combined them too.
Yeah, I mean, just and look, I see you smiling, Seth. Like I had so much fun just creating the different groups and pairings, and like I wanted to be, you know, feature, non-feature, and I started to do that. And yeah, that's probably the most fair. But then there's also, you know, spots where I did, you know, one of them is Greek Bros, where it's all the anti somethings in one spot, and it's, you know, I just kind of had fun with it and threw it out there, and I've gotten comments that, hey, I love the pairings, I love the names. So just kind of like you would love this, set the Bronx Bomber spot, right?
Mhm.
Is Gavler and Mr. October. So, you
Mhm.
know, just different. I just had fun with it and just kind of hoping that the community would like it. And it seems like they do. And then there are some, you know, when you have two features in one spot, there is a higher chance that you're gonna miss. And I explained that to them. Hey, look, this is, if you're gonna hit, you're gonna hit. If you're not, you know, we'll do our best to take care of you. And so, I mean, it's fun. And, you know, Seth, I think you would have a blast just creating the spots, you know, just like I have Javalanche and K9 together, and I named it Iditarod, because I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And just like,
I like it.
So, yeah.
I did a similar thing with mine too. And yours a little bit more creative, but yeah, no, that's a really good point. I had fun too. I tried to pair similarities. The Bronx Bombers obviously had one that was catchers, so it was Carlton Fisk and it was Baldwin.
Yeah.
And you know, Braves pitchers. I did positions often or teams, but that was a lot of fun. I agree.
Yeah.
Time consuming and fun.
Yeah. It's, you know, like I got a pitcher spot and I named it like Pumping Tiger Cheddar, because that's, you know, just an old school like pitching saying. It's just fun. You know?
Well, it's Seth, when you say time consuming, I mean, that's what Frenchie's looking for. That's what the Bow Battle team's looking for.
Mhm.
Whether it's Valley Hit House, who's, you know, doing the costumes and really putting time into their production, or whether it's the break spots and taking the time to figure it out, is that's the audience recognizes that you're putting the time in to be creative, and then actually the time it takes to sort that and do the break that way. And Jason, you know, you were talking about the feedback, but Whatnot's a little tricky. Like, I mean, at Radish, we did do some breaks on Whatnot, so I'm familiar with how it works, but it's really hard, right, with the audience, because to a certain extent, there's instant feedback on how you're doing, but it's not always honest feedback, like the number you see of the people in the room, because on Whatnot, you're gonna have so many people who are just, it's like being on a New York City sidewalk and you're a street performer and there are people walking by. And you can't take heart to the fact that people stop for 2 seconds, then move on. It's not that you weren't doing a good job. It's just that's not their vibe. So you're going to get people coming into your Whatnot stream who just, they want to see, what is this about? And they're like, oh, that's nothing, I'm interested. And then they move on. So so how do you guys look at, when you see those Whatnot, be honest, you three, do you guys look at the audience number, watch it going up and down? And do you feel the pressure, like when you see it drop from like 53 down to 37? Like, do you feel like, am I doing something wrong? Do I need to change something in show?
I mean, I pay attention to it. Absolutely. And Allison, who's watching the stream, sitting next to me on her computer, yeah, she's paying attention to it too. But, you know, during the stream, I mean, kind of have a game plan going in, and, you know, what we're going to be doing. It's kind of hard to kind of change or add any kind of anything during the stream.
Sure.
But definitely keeps us aware of planning of, hey, did this time work? You know, what was going on then? And, you know, it's things like that. I mean, definitely data and research that we gather, and then kind of implement the scheduling of our future shows. And then, you know, you got to understand too, like we have a lot of friends in the community and we try to help each other. We try to rate each other when possible, you know, at the end of our shows. And you know, you're going to get a big influx when there's a raid, whether it's 20 to 50, whatever. And it's real hard to stay there when you get that raid. So, I mean, you kind of do your best and you kind of pump your energy up as much as you can. Yeah. But I'm just like, the first couple times, I was super nervous. Like, oh, why did we lose 5 people after the raid? Like, we should have kept everybody. But in all reality, you're not. You're not, but just keeping it, keeping just that energy up, I think is important, and keeping consistent to who you are is good. And you know,
you definitely keep an eye on it. You definitely keep the energy up, and good for you, because I'm not saying you should change it mid-show. I'm just saying that human reaction to want to change something when you have a plan and you're trying to stick to it, but it's hard to be like, well, why did I lose those? But Eric, I mean, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do midstream once the numbers kind of are what they are.
Right.
You can boost your show if you want to pay $25 and promote your show to get higher up in the algorithm of whatnot. If you're not doing a giveaway, you can certainly put a giveaway up, which will in a nice giveaway to keep people from leaving. Maybe they'll stick around at least for that 5 minutes. But if you're in the middle of ripping and all the spots are filled and the numbers are going down, there's really not a lot you can do at that point. If you're selling spots, you can add in twists like Stash or Pass or, C3 pick one, just something to sort of juice it up, make it a little more spicy for people to stick around and put bids in. But yeah, I think overall the numbers, it's certainly something I look at, but I don't tend to react to it unless it's like a massive, drop. Back in the day, I say back in the day, I guess 4 or 5 months ago, it used to just be myself and Hobby Club were like the only daytime streamers. And I saw a big difference as soon as Hobby Club was on. There would be people that were bouncing back and forth between my stream and their stream, or they would go buy some spots over there and maybe pop back in mine for a little while. But, now that I think you're kind of seeing almost every time slot getting filled up by somebody and there's multiple breaks going on, those numbers have sort of evened out a little bit and not as drastic of a swing.
Yeah, that's a good point, guys. One of the things I recently started doing when I was getting rated towards the end of someone else's stream is I knew that if I was ripping, what am I going to do to keep them in here? So I just started doing a pack givey right away, and then I would open the pack on stream. That's been helpful for a little bit. And back to your question, Slappy. Yes, I think about that all the time. When I see the people, like all of a sudden there'll be 30 new names. It'll say like, only I can see these names. So I try to do a quick shout out to who they are. And then I think about, all right, I get a 10-second pitch to try to get these guys to stay here. Many times they have no idea what the hell I'm ripping. So I just practice and play around with various really brief statements and pitches to get them to stay. None of which that have been all too successful, if I'm being honest. I'm still finding that magic line or two. But yeah, that's my process.
That's a great point, Seth, because we're used to the 2-minute elevator pitch, and you're basically, I think you're right. It's a 10-second. You don't have 2 minutes to keep these people, right?
That's all I got because they're just scrolling up, right? 10 seconds. Maybe that's liberal. Maybe it's more like 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, you agree with that? That you only have seconds to.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you said it, Seth, it's a great point. I think the 10 seconds is long. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. As y'all are talking, I'm thinking, well, maybe I can do a stream outside and get one of those big rotating boards and put myself on it and let Allison throw axes at me, and then
Oh my God!
determine the spots.
No, you don't have to.
That's entertainment, man.
Yeah, dude, people would love that.
Yeah.
You do
Barnum
realize
and Bailey's bringing the circus.
Give us death.
Yeah.
you do realize that Valley Hit House is now stealing that idea and 100% doing that.
I know.
You'll be wearing gladiator stuff next time.
You don't have to make it lethal, by the way. Seriously, that idea is great. Like, just don't throw the axes. But like, you could do, like, she takes like a water
paintball
balloon,
gun.
a water balloon
Oh,
filled with
yeah.
paint, throws it at the board, and wherever it hit, and if it hits you in the face, like she's got to redo it. But wherever
Right.
the most blot is on the board,
Yeah.
like that's the spot you get. Oh my God. Yeah, that's the type of creative stuff that.
Oh, she would absolutely love doing that. That's the scary part. You know?
Does she watch this, Jason?
She does. She does.
Yep. You got a new show plan next week.
Yeah. Oh, she critiques it. Absolutely. You know, she's all in, guys. She is all in.
That's
All right, so
great.
now I
Yeah.
don't want to get into the controversial issue, which it
Uh-oh.
was great. Like actually, Seth, when I was up on, I gotta find it. I should actually share it. But when I was up in northern New Hampshire there just a couple days ago, there was a sign on a telephone pole, and it said, "AI is the doctrine of evil." Let me see if I can. Let's see. Wait. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
This is on a telephone pole in Conway, New Hampshire. And not to go
Well,
where
we
the
don't have
doctrine of
those
evil.
kind of signs on posts in New Orleans, guys. So
What's that?
we don't have those kind of signs and posts in New Orleans. We have different kind of sayings that people put on there and stuff that I can't talk about on the stream.
Well, that's the first time. That's the first time I've seen this, Jason.
Yeah.
But I was curious if you guys have ever used, and it's amazing to me, by the way, on AI. I saw something the other day on Instagram where this person was saying, oh, you want something done crappy? Oh, you don't want to pay actors to be real clients. You just want an AI generate it. So you want it to look unnatural and crappy? Yeah, we can do that. You have nothing to do with AI, but you're going to use AI because everybody else is. Almost like mimicking, like in 1999, like the .com, like when pet.com with no real business sold for like 50 million. And people are acting like AI is the same thing. As I don't know how you guys are, but like AI has been a godsend at Radish, like for everything that we do. So I've seen the transgression, and Big Rob actually works with AI as part of his job. So he lets me know when a big update is coming. But I will say it's amazing how AI has improved everything. And that's leading me up to ask you guys, have you actually plugged in your braking format, what you do with braking, talking about the city brakes, talking about the power brakes, talking about everything you're doing? Have you plugged it into AI and asked it, what is the best way to entertain for your viewers? I'm curious if you guys have used AI and if it's given you any feedback.
Yes, and yes. I'm just here's why I stopped. First of all, when I first started, now I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm a boomer in like ways, but I didn't know how to set all this stuff up. So I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm sending ChatGPT pictures. I'm like, all right, this goes here. I have this mic. What do I do? And all of a sudden I ran out of my free thing. I'm like, crap, now I got to pay. So now I'm a paying $20 a month ChatGPT member. So I'm like, I might as well use it. So I will say this. One, they wrote my song for the that I had a tweak on for your holiday album song. Quick segue is I tried really hard to be number one. I'm number 3 right now on in popularity. You guys, whoever else must be really listening to your song. So I listen to my song a lot. But I have asked it so many things about the format and the break. I will say the feedback on that is not great right now. It's like the suggestions just don't work for me. Even if I explain it, like the process and what I'm doing, not ideal. But if I want to feel good about myself, I tell AI, and there's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So just a little pat on the back. They'll give me that too.
Yeah, I mean, a good friend of ours used it in what I was talking about earlier in determining the brake spots and stuff, and it was sent to me, and I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it, so I kind of jumped in there and kind of mumbled it all up, and kind of created my own pairings with it. But I use it with imaging. It's very helpful with imaging. But as far as I'm going to do it though, I think that's a good idea. You're like, hey, this is what we do in our show. How could we beef it up a little bit? Just to kind of see what they say. And it might be something that's attainable, and maybe something that's not. But I think it's a great idea.
Hey, quick, by the way, ads. AI tells me not to have anxiety. Just relax. Why didn't I think about that? And again, it's making leaps and bounds in different places. I'm just curious, and like, Eric, I'm curious to hear how it's helped your braking. By the way, this is just a reminder to everybody in the Bow Battle community who's watching this, is that sometimes, right, it's just like, why are, when you look at the prices and brakes, one is like we talked earlier about folks actually finding product out there secondary. They're not getting it from the company, so they got to pay the secondary prices. And then number 2 is that when you look at all the time that's put into it, as somebody who's braking, like we've talked about it, the massive amount of time of sorting and shipping, and then actually developing these strategies. So you can see these breakers trying every way they can to make it more entertaining for you, also create that value that you're looking for. And again, because that's the one thing to remind people about Bow Battle Arena. If folks are watching this is Bow Battle Breakers for Breakfast, and we're talking about the Bow Battle Arena, which is, it's a game from Bo Jackson, and this will never be the cheapest card trading set that you're ever going to see in the store, nor should it be, because it's not. The value is much greater than a Tops. Tops has, like, I can't remember who I was talking in the community about this. It's hard. Like, I tend to knock Tops a little bit too much. There's a place for Tops, but if you are looking for product to rip that just has insane hits, not always the most valuable. A lot of times, yes, but even just the parallels, the color that you rip, that might not be high dollar value, but you feel good when you rip the pack because of the color you see. So anyway, we're just talking with 3 of the breakers from Bow Battle Arena this morning. talking about everything that goes into it. So Eric, with that, do you use AI at all to help you with your brakes at all?
I have not. No. I've used AI certainly for several other things. A lot of marketing and emails and things like that. But I have not integrated into brakes. I'm definitely open to it and would be curious to see what it could possibly do. For me, I always look at brakes as in the consumer's eyes. If I was a consumer joining this brake, what exactly would I want to see? How would I want it to go down? And so I'm big ADD guy. Like I can't sit in a stream for 12, 14 hours. And so if I'm buying into a spot for a brake, like I want that brake filled quick. I want to see that product rip as fast as possible, in a quality manner. But I just want to experience the brake. Yeah. You see some guys on there just shredding packs, putting their thumbprints on every card, bending cards. And like, that's not really the way to go about it. So you definitely got to respect the product, but, I want to see the brake, done in a couple hours versus some of these marathon streams, and maybe some people that's what they want to do on a Saturday is hang out on YouTube or on whatnot. And so I think there's different strokes for different folks, certainly, but just trying to add value and keep things as efficient as possible is big for me.
Seth and Jason, I'm shocked to hear Eric say that his ADHD as he looks away, but he also he has his day job too, so that's probably somebody coming in. But you literally sit there so calm the entire time we do Bow Battle Breakers. Like I would not have guessed you were ADHD at all. Talking about that, but he brought up Seth and Jason. He brought up the marathon breaks, and it's interesting because in the early days of Bow Battle Breaks, when you'd hear about these breaks, like the next morning, somebody would say they're still going. They've been going since last night. And there's entertainment value in that. And there's hype being, it's going to be talked about in the community. But does that still have merit after a year of, seeing those breaks every once in a while? Because the one thing I hear from my friends who really they buy into breaks all the time, they'll wake up and be like, hey, did so-and-so get hit? Because they're not staying up all night long with the breakers. So is the value there anymore when it's not the first time it's been done? It's common enough that people do all night breaks, and the person who buys the spot doesn't actually get to experience seeing their card rip, to Eric's point. So Seth and Jason, how do you guys feel about that? Do you think we might see less of those marathon breaks? Because what value does that bring to the person who buys in the break?
Yeah, go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, no, I haven't even really thought about that. On the spot, I'm going to say there aren't many people that are equipped to do those breaks now anyway. And so I think how often they'll be happening will probably be fine and enough. And, people will show up and, like Eric said, and buy in the beginning. Like I always don't stick around to the breaks, and I'll buy a spot and do other things too. But they'll have its place for sure, because there's something there's unique there. Like not everyone can pull off a 13-hour break in terms of product, energy, and just be able to do it like physically. That's a really challenging thing to do. Like I talk all about the time is like, I have the energy to do it, that the mental energy to stay focused for 2.5, 3 hours straight while I'm engaging with the chat and trying to deal with the cards. And I only do half the thing. You guys break the cards and you're talking to the chat. I just hang out behind and talk to the chat. And I have Miss Manley or Breezy break. So I'm doing half the work. It's hard. So I think they'll have its place because they're fun.
But wait, so Seth, when you bring that up, you're talking about that from the breaker's perspective. I was talking about from the person who buys into the break, because you're forgetting again. The audience does not know everything that you guys do. And we can mention it here and a few people will hear it. They won't fully understand it or take it in because they haven't done it. So when you talk about it, what it takes for a 13-hour break, it looks like a couple of guys having fun. Yeah. Hey, if you do it right, it does not look like work. If you do it right as a breaker, it looks like you're having fun hanging out with your pal or your wife or your family member all night long. So that's what. So if they don't stay for the break all night. So I hear what you're saying from the breaker's perspective, but I think it's one of those things where it's a badge of honor as a breaker for you to do it, because all the breakers know what it takes to go into that. But if your break spot holders are not watching it, where's the value for them? What do they get out of that if they're not going to be there all night?
They bought a lottery ticket.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, just hopefully get a good card. Yeah,
That's
You
it.
buy a lottery ticket, wake up to see if your numbers hit in the morning, or you're just doing it to support that stream, which is, perfectly fine. And that's great. I do it all the time. I'll buy a spot from a streamer
Yep.
I like, just to support them and throw some money their way. And, if I get a card or cards, that's awesome. If not, oh, well, I help support them.
Yeah, I think that happens more. I think with the release of Griffey and any big time event, like when Nationals comes around, or when when the Vegas show came around, which was a combination of Griffey and Vegas, right? I think that those breaks are going to be there. It's going to be. I was lucky enough to be part of that big break in Vegas and was kind of the worker bee behind the scenes with Bazooka and Valley. And, but I think there's going to be less product, right? There's going to be less product. So I think that those marathon breaks, I guess we call them, are going to be fewer and far between. And there's more. So there's more breakers out there who are doing more product in their breaks. And then there's also going to be where the price level gets higher. There's still going to be some, where, there's some people sitting on product, I'm sure, and they're just kind of waiting for that timing to do that marathon break, and they'll call it the, whatever's on the calendar, right? They'll link it and market it and make sense of it. And I think they'll still be there. I think that people do get fired up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people who will hang around all night, and a lot of people who just kind of fall asleep as they're watching it, just like we do watching TV, right? And
keep those viewer numbers up. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've done it. I've been on the stream before and had it on my phone and fell asleep and woke up and like, hey, did anything hit? So, yeah, I still think there's a place for it, but I think it'll be maybe less frequent until Tecmo comes. When Tecmo comes, it's probably going to be a 4-day break that somebody's going to do. So,
Wow.
Which will be crazy.
Kind of like the time that, for those old enough to remember when the Baltimore Orioles opened the season, not winning a game, and this DJ said he wasn't going to go to sleep until they won a game. And I remember them talking about the medical issues. It was days he stayed awake, and how it just was not healthy for him to do that. So will we see somebody break for 4 days with Tecmo? Yeah, that's interesting, Jason, whether you'll do that. I will say, Eric, like your point about the lottery ticket, it would be if I could easily see if I hit, instead of going into the community and be like, does anybody know if so-and-so hit? So I'm going to push back on you guys a little bit as a community member and say, that's fine. And you guys aren't the ones doing the marathon breaks. Do the marathon break, but actually have a system. So when I wake up in the morning, I can check my lottery ticket instead of just, I don't know, we'll get the spreadsheet up. Yes, we haven't got it up yet. Yes, you can check it later. Again, that to me is not value, is that if you could tell me right away whether I hit something, that would be value.
Yeah. One thing that some streamers do, and Alice and I have actually talked about this and doing it, and Seth, you might be doing this, is while the break's going on and there is a big hit, it's mentioned in the chat where, at the Card Society just hit a Hex, mixtape dartboard.
I'm not.
And then so that'll link it to your, you'll get the notification on your Whatnot account and you can check it there. I mean, that is one way that you can do it. And Pulls and Pars does that. And I love it. I love that feature that they do in their chat, where it's not just when you buy a spot, it tells you bought it, and it's on your history. It's actually when you get a hit, there's one of the three guys in the background putting it on there, and it puts it in the chat. It's really nice.
That's impressive, Jason. We've been mostly doing that through just the community, the people that are in the breaks have done it, but I haven't tagged them myself, so it just kind of happened naturally.
Yeah,
that's impressive though.
Yeah, it's when we saw him doing it, we're like, man, I love that. So it's really nice.
By the way, quick saying as a viewer, it's funny waking up for work at 3 a.m. and seeing a break going that I saw before I went to bed. As a breaker, I think I would crash out after a few hours. a few more hours. And by the way, one from our normal panelist, Cursive, who chimes in, sometimes those marathon breaks price out people when spots are 500 plus. And I know we got to wrap up the show, but just if anybody wants to comment about Cursive, like that is another issue, right? With the marathon break spots. On the one hand, it's a higher price. On the other hand, it's a lot of product. So in some ways, there might be more value in those marathon breaks.
I agree.
Potentially. So I don't know about you guys, but I've never just the old brake carb is not great. And the big breaks, I've never done well. And like I'm not saying I've hit things for sure, but I don't think I've one time received back more than what I put in for a large break. Not once. Yeah. Just how it's gone. And
I definitely did one time, and the other ones I'd have to go back and look, but there was just one where we did good. So
yeah, but again, just real quick, is like that's not why I'm doing. I was supporting the break. I enjoyed watching. It wasn't just about the product. If it were, I would have done 2 and never done them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, Seth, when you say supporting the break, like you guys have, Eric, you brought that up earlier too. But again, when you're talking about on Whatnot, and Seth, you talked about, we'll save it for next time. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Like based on what you were saying earlier, I think I have an inkling on what it is, but you won't get there in 5 years from people who want to support you because they just want to support you, right? At the end of the day, this is a commodity. And it's, Frenchie's right. It's not about simply the product, because then people would simply look at all the Bow Battle breakers on Whatnot and just compute the valuation. And that's the break spots that they would buy. Let's go with the one who always offers just the dollar cost average best. It's the entertainment also. It's similar to what you're saying, Seth. They want to support the breaker, but they want to support the breaker possibly because of the entertainment that they get out of it.
Yes.
And so for you guys is that you need to, in order to attract people on Whatnot, right, you have to give them the entertainment. They're not going to just be there because like anybody watches this show. No, Seth, you're obviously a great guy. Like who would not want to support you? So you literally like, I mean, I just like, I'm shocked that, Eric has ADHD. He says I'd be shocked if you told me you use profanity and as soon as you get off the show, you said bad things about Eric, Jason, and myself. Like that would, in no world would you be like those bloop, 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 bloop that I just spent an hour with. So for you though, you need, and it's interesting to me, we got to go. Like it's been an hour, but I looking at all your breaks, it's interesting is that when Radish broke a little bit, I look at Hobby Club and there's definitely a market for it. I always refer to it, it's like the Howard Stern burp and fart humor is like that. There is a market for that, for the way Hobby Club does things where it's just outrageous all the time. And Chris getting super excited over a silver battle foil, which is silver battle foil is like, that's awesome that you got a hit in the pack. That's not something that you scream into the mic about. Like that's something I don't believe you scream into the mic about. That's what cardio does. And right. It's like, that's not your style. Like the three of you guys, when I watch you guys, like you don't get excited about, you recognize that it's a special hit. You don't treat it like it's a one-of-one hit. I guess that's the thing is like, I want to be careful. Obviously we do the show every week. I love Bow Battle Arena. I think it's by far the best product. Like I don't rip tops anymore. I just won't. It's just, I don't want that empty feeling when I rip tops. I love Bow Battle Arena, but it's a good feeling when I rip a silver battle foil. I talked about that earlier. It's not a one-of-one. And so for you guys, I mean, would you guys agree? Like I kind of see two styles. There's a style that everything is the most massive hit you've ever had. And there's some breakers who do that. And when you guys talk about having energy, some of those breakers like Cardio Chris would do, he'd do 24-hour breaks where he's treating every hit like it's a one-of-one hit. And he keeps that energy up for 24 hours. But you guys, there's the other one where, like for me, I'm comfortable watching viewers where I want intelligent discord. I want people excited when they get hits. I want people excited when there's a silver battle foil, but I want proportionality. I mean, do you guys kind of see this the same way where they're like, there's two type of breakers that way?
Yeah. And I do, there's a lot of comments, I think too, about, breakers that overvalue cards and overhype things. And I don't know if you know Debut Sports. They do a massive single show on Whatnot, and it is a lot of screaming and yelling about how the bids need to go up and how this card is half the price of comps. But then you look up the comps, and it actually sold for twice of what comps are going for. And I don't like to do that. I don't like smoke and mirrors tricks to where you're trying to trick the consumer into what it is they're getting or not getting. I try to just play it straight up. Like, if this is a pretty common card that comes out a lot, let's treat it like that. If this is a card that we don't see very often, let's hype it up and go crazy with it. So that's kind of my view on those.
And by the way, Eric, this is about me, not about you. You brought up Debut Sports, but I just to clarify about Hobby Club, I'm on the record about this. Bow Battle Arena wouldn't have gone as fast as it did and did as well as it did without Hobby Club. I love Mitch, I love Cole. Those guys are doing a great job over there. And there's a difference between what Eric's saying and what Hobby Club gets excited. Like, Chris is not saying a silver battle foil is when he was on saying it was $100 card. I'm not saying that he just was excited. And like, Chris was genuinely excited about every single one. So there's two type of issues, right? There's hyping and dishonest, like you're talking about with what we, well,
so,
I
also think too, though, with like a new product, and especially with what is great about Bow Battle Arena is the artwork, right? So with a Topps or Panini product, you know, you're not always talking about the photography on the card or the images on the card, because a lot of times they're recycled and they're the same in every single product. But with Bow Battle Arena, especially with a new set, like when Griffey first came out and you're first seeing the artwork for the first time, or the first time you're seeing a silver battle foil of Thorn or whoever it might be, and you're just like, oh my God, look at this artwork. Look how amazing this looks on the silver background. I feel like that's a completely different, you know, than when we're like a month or 6 weeks into the release and you've seen that card 100 times.
Yeah, I agree. It's genuine, Eric, and I agree 100% what you're saying. Listen, we talk about it all the time. Hobby Club, they were entertaining and great, and you couldn't look away. They did so much. I love what they've done. I'm just not quite that animated. I'm still going to be animated, Eric, like you talked about, a good looking card. I'm always going to talk about that. Or maybe there's an athlete that had a great year that I know about, and I'll talk about the athlete. So that's all fair game to talk about in a fun way. Yeah, and I think the community is good at kind of policing its own about people who might be overvaluing certain things or maybe acting in a dishonest way. There was a quick story just last week where there was a newer breaker that was doing that. And a bunch of breakers that have been seasoned around for a little bit hopped in there, and they just kind of let people know what the true value of things were. They all got banned, but that's what they did because they felt like it was the right thing to do, to let everyone know that, hey, listen, this guy's saying this car is $10. It's probably about $1 or whatever it was. I don't know the exact figure there, but yeah, we tend to police our own.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point, is that, you know, we do look out for each other, and, you know, I kind of, look, I get excited. I mean, we talked, Eric, you were mentioning people screaming at you on the stream and stuff like that. Like, that's what got me to Boba was, you know, I was doing, you know, just got into sports cards and, you know, was going on breaks and stuff like that. And guys screaming at you like, bid now at the bottom. I'm like, this isn't fun. Like, I'm looking for something to get away from stress and to just enjoy life. Like, this isn't enjoyable. I mean, I got all kinds of people that scream at me all day. I don't want to have any more of that. So, like, finding something that's enjoyable and peaceful and fun, you know, and value. I think that's important, and not, you know, misleading people with, you know, with if I hit a headliner, I'm going to be like, all right, these are headliners. These only come in the blaster. These, you know, and kind of give some information, because there's always new people in there. So, kind of referencing the list that you pulled up a little while ago, Slappy, and just kind of being honest with it. But when there's a, you know, like with Update, whenever there was a howitzer, look, I'm jumping on my chair. I mean, because that's my guy, right? But with now, like that, when we hit that Flava Flav auto, like that was huge to me. It might not be huge to a lot of people because he's not an athlete or whatever, but to me, that's awesome. And you know, and I can't keep that in. So it's coming out.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that people don't yell at you on your stream. That means Allison's not yelling at you when you're doing your stream. So that's good to hear.
When we turn the camera off. is when the yelling occurs.
He's the sweetest thing. I find that hard to believe.
No.
But I will say I would love to. The offer's out there for Hobby Club, of course, for other breakers to come on the show. But I've had the offer out there for Hobby Club. We'd love to have them. They're just so busy. They haven't taken up on the offer. But I don't mind hearing Mitch yell. Like I will say that, like when you're talking about, like I agree
That's a
with you.
different kind of yell. That's more like an excitement yell. I'm talking about the ones that are like demanding you to bid. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every other word's an F-bomb, and they're screaming at you.
No, Mitch is beautiful. Like
Yeah.
Mitch, I mean, he is beautiful. I love that guy.
But is it? See, but that was my point. Like when we got, and I shouldn't have brought it up at the end when we didn't have much time. Is that I do appreciate the three of you and how you do it. It's like it's to me, it's a more cerebral approach. But again, some people want, the excitement at 99% all the time for as long as the break's going, and that's why I'd love to have Mitch come on the show and do that because he does that. Right. There are very few people who are capable about doing. We're talking about marathon breaks. Well, just even doing that where you're at 99% excited all the time. And Mitch is able to do it. And what's great is if you've met Mitch is genuinely that person. When I met him at the Shattering in Columbia, South Carolina last year, Mitch is one of the most fun people to be around. In fact, I was very disappointed he wasn't in Vegas because he's like that when the cameras are off. He is kind of like talking excitedly and loud all the time because life is excited and loud to him and just great being around him. All right. Anyway, speaking of excited and loud, is that Eric, do you have a break starting in 18 minutes?
48. Yeah, we're going at 11 Eastern. Yeah.
Okay. So, and we're live on the day after Christmas, December 26, 2025. So what do you got coming up?
3 hobbies, 3 double megas, 3 blasters. Pick your hero. I run the spots super fast. We do 10-second sudden death. So we try to fill it in about 40 minutes. That was the time last week. And everybody loves it. Break fills fast. We get to rip in, usually pull some heat. And then tomorrow morning, single show. Don't miss that one either. 9 a.m. Eastern.
9 a.m. Eastern. And you'll be wearing what costume today and what costume tomorrow? I'm kidding.
I'm the man in black today. Yeah.
That's a pretty big break, Eric. That's a good size. That's a lot of product.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Jason, what about you? What do you, Mrs. Big, you have coming up next?
Yeah, so we're going to do our show right after Eric on Saturday morning. We're debating whether to do a break or singles. We've missed some time, had some illness in the family. So, I mean, we're back at it now, though. So looking forward to it. And then, our normal schedule next week, Monday night and Wednesday night. Our Wednesday night next week is our big singles show that we do every week, 6 o'clock Central. So exciting.
Awesome. And I will get the links for all you guys in the description after the show, after we go off the show, so people can click through to their links. I'll get it up right away. So anybody who wants to link over to Card Society, starting in a half an hour. Seth.
Yeah, normally we're Sunday. I'll be with the family in New Jersey, hanging out with some more Discord members that are there. So I'll do a January 1st, New Year's Day break, 2 p.m. I'm going to try to do it with some family members because the one after Thanksgiving didn't work last time. Yeah, then after that, we're Sunday at 6 p.m., right around 6. That's our slot.
Okay. Well, it's appreciate everybody for being here. We have Seth, mainly breaks. You might know him as Lungta in the community. By the way, Seth, why Lungta? I don't think I've ever asked you.
What's a great question. So Lungta is Tibetan for wind horse. I'm Buddhist, and that my favorite explanation of wind horse is the energy of basic goodness. So,
wait, what did I say about the guy? And when he goes off the air, like. Literally, I had no idea what Lungta meant, but like, I think we could say for sure he's not getting off the air saying those bloop, bloop, bloop people.
I am not.
That's awesome. All right. Well, listen, we've got Seth from Mainly Breaks on here. So thank you for joining us. Eric, Mr. Hop, you know him, the Card Society, and then Jason, Big U Breaks, along with his wife, Mrs. Big U Breaks. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been Bow Battle Breakers for breakfast, and we will see you next Friday and every Friday live.
I'm hosting Boba Breakfast Club. Pull up, grab a chair. Snow outside the window, tapioca in the air. Bo Jackson back.
180 Hex mixtape. Call your shot. Who's it gonna be?
Cinnamon cheer.
Here we go. Good luck, all. Forward. That was beautiful.
Call me Santa with taste. Wonders of the first, yeah, I narrate the chase.
And there's a banger. There's an absolute banger. Whoa! Let me give you a banger. Oh my goodness, I gotta say that one.
But I still sing loud. Like a choir of survivors in a holiday crowd.